Today, the Palestinian people commemorates the 35th anniversary of the Declaration of National Independence, while remaining steadfast despite all the crimes, the aggression committed by the occupation forces. This occasion, dear to our hearts, comes when our people are being subjected to genocide and systematic ethnic cleansing. And we are facing now a barbaric war of aggression in the West Bank and Jerusalem. But our people in Gaza are being exposed to the ugliest image of carnage carried out by the occupation regime in front of the whole world, even with some support of some governments. Although our priorities now are to stop this brutal aggression and to protect our people from this carnage, we reject all plans to displace and to deport our people outside of their homeland. We will continue to work to encourage our people to steadfast and remain in their own land in cooperation with peoples who promote justice and peace. Peace and stability begins with the recognition of the Palestinian rights, recognized by international legitimacy, foremost of which is the right of self-determination and the establishment of its independent state with East Jerusalem as its capital. The Palestinian people who began their struggle since the Balfour Declaration will not give up their national rights based on international resolutions, and will not abandon their principles to establish our independent Palestinian state on our own land. The Declaration of Independence was a national decision after decades of national struggle aimed to protect the Palestinian existence and to establish a Palestinian identity. It constituted an important and fatal turning point in our history and the history of our cause. It has paved the way for the start of a new struggle based on acceptance of the resolutions of the international legitimacy and the entry of the State of Palestine into the international system as an essential partner in building international communities. Our recognition of international legitimacy and the adoption of its resolution as a reference for achieving a just and comprehensive peace requires that the international community put pressure on the Israeli occupation forces to force it to accept the United Nations resolutions and not to double standards and the policy of double standards that has taken place. The occupation will disappear, no matter how long it takes. We will not accept the continuation of the occupation forever, and we will take serious and firm positions to protect the rights of our people and to stop the recklessness Israeli escalation by the occupation, its army, and its settlers. The Israeli government is proving day after day that it does not represent a true partner for peace, which guarantees the security and the stability in the region and in the world. Rather, all it is doing now is undermining any opportunity for the Palestinian people to remain and stand firm in our own land by terrorizing, killing, bombing, demolishing, uprooting, and deporting Palestinians from their own land, and terrorizing our people in a barbaric fashion under the full view of the whole world. We hope that this world will break its silence and its negative contribution in the systematic extermination of our people, but instead to support justice and national rights for the Palestinian people, looking and hoping that next year we will see The whole world unites in the face of Israeli extremism, superiority and aggression, and their systematic state of terrorism, which does not comply at all with the war's decisions and does not respect international legitimacy or global consensus. This day represents a very dear day to our existence and to our people in Palestine, because it represents our hope for a statehood and to be independent and to live in peace in our own country. Every year we hope for a peaceful solution for our problem with Israel. We hope for the Israeli aggression and occupation to stop. And every year we celebrate hoping that the next year will be better, where the ugly occupation will be away from our people and our people will be protected. They will live peacefully in their own country. So this year it was the worst, where the aggression against our people in the West Bank, Jerusalem, and especially in Gaza, where a carnage that has been taking place by the Israeli regime against our civilians did not really give us a chance to see that this year was better than last year. As I said, this day represents for us hope. All what it does represent is hope for us to have our independent state. The Palestinian people in general, they are being oppressed continuously. There is always means utilized by the Israeli forces to dehumanize the Palestinians, to put blockage on their life, to keep them apart, to close the gates where they keep the Palestinians confined in certain cities, to block their movement and their travel and their normal livelihood. There is always attacks from the settlers against our farms and against our civilians and against their houses and against their properties. So it depends on the time of the year where we have a day or 2 days of peace, which rarely happens in Palestine, because the whole Palestinian population is subjected to a systematic terrorism by the state of Israel. I understand your question. Do we celebrate like other countries? No, we don't celebrate like other countries. We do not have the capacity or the time or the rest to really celebrate happily, freely, without the occupation terrorizing us. Unfortunately, the situation in Palestine is so different from the situation in Tanzania, where you celebrate Independence Day happily and freely and with no aggression, with no terrorism, with no occupation, with no bombing, without being terrorized. So yes, you can celebrate here. Unfortunately, we don't have that pleasure to really celebrate like other people who celebrate their Independence Day.
شكرا سر.